Hey there, welcome back. Before we embark even further in our explorations, I think it's time to properly introduce you to the mysterious deck we're working on. You might be familiar with these things, the tarot. No, I'm not going to read you your fortune with these, I promise, although I won't deny that I might have some magic tricks up my sleeves. Indeed, tarot is perceived as an ancient tool of divination and magic, but it really goes beyond that. What tarot has been doing for centuries is helping people to see new directions and new ways of approaching their life. Tarot is often used as a tool for seeing familiar things from a new perspective. It prompts to ask questions and see relationships between aspects that were not so visibly interconnected before. The heritage of the tarot is exactly the reason why I chose to use it as a mapping tool for our investigation of systems thinking, to help envision this radically new conception of life in a fun and engaging way. The form and nature of tarot provides us with 3 much needed extra functions that will fuel our exploration to be as fruitful as possible. Firstly, tarot gives us the necessary structure within it becomes easier to navigate the complexity that arises when we explore systems thinking. Systems thinking in itself is an act of organizing information to make meaning. The tarot gives us a grid in which to record and encapsulate this meaning so that we can easily go back to what we have learned, and then we can also have an opportunity to repeatedly enrich it with new interpretation and meaning. Secondly, the function of spreads that is key to reading tarot gives us a further opportunity to deepen the understanding of shared meaning between the cards. Spreads are really just diverse methods of storytelling that are created by laying out cards in a particular shape or sequence. Looking at the relationships that arise from the spreads can help us to see new stories and imagine alternatives where we thought none could exist before. Thirdly, tarot is simply fun. It is open enough to investigate quite complex and heavy issues in a light, curious and playful manner. The deck of our creation here imitates a systems cluster mapping exploration, which is a traditional methodology of getting anybody into systems thinking mindset. But what the deck does better is that instead of leaving you all on your own in your exploration, it provides you with some template to kickstart with, meanwhile giving you enough breathing space to make your own meaning of the cards you interact with. Now that you know why I have chosen tarot to work with, let's dive right into it. I'm now going to introduce you to the basic structure of the deck so you can start building your grid of understanding. In traditional tarot, there are 78 cards and 2 decks, Major Arcana and Minor Arcana. The Major deck has 22 cards, and these cards hold key powerful archetypes that were of great prominence at the time when the first tarot deck was created, which is around mid-15th century, with characters such as the Emperor, the Hierophant, and the Chariot. Major Arcana cards normally set the scene for narrative of large and meaningful events and influences. But in my humble opinion, these card characters have been needing an update for a long time to be able to fully communicate with us in the present. The tarot decking of our making here also carries key powerful archetypes and forces in its Major Arcana, but it's curated as a reflection specific to our current times. The cards highlight what appears as especially important if we look at the world from a systems thinking mindset perspective. The other 56 cards in traditional tarot belong to the so-called Minor Arcana. They normally reflect the victories and losses that are associated with a person's daily life. Normally, the 56 cards are based on basic numerology and hold medieval archetypes such as knights, pages, queens, and kings. Traditionally, the cards are divided into 4 suits: cups, pentacles, swords, and wands. In our deck in the making, the Minor Arcana serves to encapsulate processes, movements, ideas, and influences of our current world rather than the medieval world. The suits are representing key 4 dimensions of a human life. Traditionally, the cards from a suit of cups deal with relationships and emotional connections to yourself and others. For that reason, the suit of cups in our deck here represents the social and community-focused domains of the human life. Suit of Pentacles normally deals with finance, material possessions, and work-related aspects of life. Therefore, Pentacles in this deck reflect on the economy and the industrial dimension of our current life. The Suit of Swords normally deals with a mental level of consciousness that is focused around the mind and intellect. The Swords cards serve as a mirror to show thoughts, beliefs, and words. Accordingly, this suit translates into our deck as the deck of the cognitive domain of our human life. And at last, we've got a Suit of Wands, which is traditionally associated with primal energy, strength, inspiration, and creativity, original thought, as well as seeds through which life springs forth. It therefore made sense on making wands represent the biggest domain of our life, which we unfortunately tend to ignore the most, the ecological realm. Alright, did you get these? Cups stand for social dimension, pentacles for the economy, swords represent the cognitive domain of the world, and wands the ecological. The deck will also have a couple of special supporting cards. They're called the System Mindset cards. The key role of these independent cards is to serve as perspective shifters. By incorporating them into a reading, the System Mindset cards can help to better understand how to view the relationships between major and minor arcana cards for an even deeper systems thinking point of view of the world. These System Mindset cards will present key systems properties that can be applied to any situation and any relationship to view it from a fresh perspective. Alright, now you get the big picture. We are exploring meaning and relationships of the whole world through the creation of this deck, by recording key findings that we collect on our adventure. See you in the next episode, which reveals stories behind more cards, and here is a little question for you to reflect on. What are the first 3 things or aspects that come to your mind when you think about each of these 4 dimensions of your life? The social, the economic, the cognitive, and the ecological. Leave me some responses to this below.